you could talk to me about some of those issues that tend to maybe, because like we said, we talk about some of the stuff that involves athletes in general, but some of the issues that may be more specific to female athletes in particular.
Yeah, just the fact that, playing overseas is taxing on one's mental health anyway. Just you're going over there, you're not you don't speak the language, you're in a different culture. And as a woman overseas is different than being a male overseas. They worship you as a male athlete, as opposed to a female athlete. It's just not the same vibe. I mean, it's just different. I mean, just look at the United States. It's still women's sports and men's sports are treated differently. And just knowing and that if you're over there by yourself, maybe, well, actually you have teammates, but when I was over there, we only allowed one other foreigner, and my foreigner wasn't American. And sometimes it's safety issues. I mean, one year Brittany Griner was playing in China, and she was stabbed. I don't know if you remember that story. I don't remember how long ago. Yeah, she got stabbed.
Wow.
I think she was riding the bus somewhere. Yeah, that happened. I feel like it happened early on in her career.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
definitely different things female athletes have to deal with compared to male. And actually, I'm in school now getting my master's degree in sport and performance psychology. And I remember reading some studies stating that we struggle with anxiety more than our male counterparts.
Absolutely. I know you mentioned, I mean, obviously body dysmorphia happens to everybody, but I feel like that's probably something that happens with female athletes a little more often. You mentioned miscarriages. I know there's definitely athletes that have had, postpartum depression as
Yeah.
well. It just feels like there's, not to make any sort of a stab at, what men have to deal with at all, but it's just a different set of stuff that it would feel that, doesn't get brought up as much, that y'all have these also very female specific things you have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, we have to time when we have children, if we're athlete, or we have to take a whole season off, just to recover from childbirth. Guys don't have to deal with that, or the hormonal changes and your body changes, the changes that your body go through after you give birth to um someone. I gave birth to my son in 2001 in March, and training camp was in May. And I really honestly should have been playing. I should have just been, recovering and focusing on being a mom. But I wanted to get back, and I played. My body wasn't ready. When you give birth, you have that hormone called relaxin that is in your system, and it makes you more susceptible to injury. It's for childbirth to make your joints lax so you can push out, but it's not the best thing to have when you're playing basketball, because I remember spraining my ankle, during training camp. I remember being having postpartum depression and just wanting to cry all the time. But I didn't have anyone to talk to, because at that time there weren't a lot of women with children at my age. There were people who had kids when they were teenagers and they were in the league, but there wasn't many people that had babies and were coming back to training camp. So I felt very lonely during that period.
Absolutely. And